Today's episode is so good. Deidre Sirianni and I talk about how do you turn your light on, and she has a framework that are the 4 stages of your light being turned on. This one is so good. You want to definitely listen. Grab that pen and paper because you're going to want to take notes. I also wanted to mention before we jump in, if you are starting your professional organizing business and you have not checked out the Pro Organizers Academy, then you are missing out, because I now have the How to Start Your Professional Organizing Business course, which if you have gotten my freebie, which you all should have gotten the freebie, it's a How to Start Your Professional Organizing Business checklist. That entire checklist is every single thing that inside of the course has teaching modules on it, exactly how to do it. I have been getting some amazing testimonials recently from women that have chosen to take the course. They have made their way through it. Through the course, they've joined the group coaching community, and they have such good things to say. Just yesterday, I was speaking to Brandy, who has just purchased the course. And for a minute, she actually didn't purchase the course because she even said she almost had buyer's remorse. She had purchased so many courses in the past. She had purchased nutritional supplements and all sorts of different things that did not give you what they said that they would give you. But she said with my course that she was blown away at the amount of information that was in there, how easy it was to follow, and how I take you step by step and hold your hand along the way. She was so thankful that this is one of the first purchases in years that she has purchased that she did not have buyer's remorse. And I'm so grateful because I work so hard to make sure that every single thing I do is quality. It streamlines the process for you, and it's exactly what you need to get you from point A to point B as quickly as possible, while also having support and knowing that you are not alone. So if you're starting your organizing business and you have not checked out the Academy, where I have How to Start Your Organizing Business course, a website, Create Your Website in 5 Days course, because it comes with a pre-made template that I created for you to start your business. And I just recently launched my How to Work with Clients as a Professional Organizer course. I also recently updated my paperwork module inside of the How to Start Your Organizing Business course. It is also my $27 item that I have if you just need the paperwork. I just updated that last week. And so if you need simple, effective teaching solutions where I guide you one step at a time, and you get the community as a bonus when you purchase these courses. You get it 3 months for free if you get the How to Start Your Business or How to Work with Clients. But the most exciting news that I just wanted to make sure to mention right now is I am actually creating the How to Market Your Professional Organizing Business course. I'm calling it the Fully Booked Service Provider course, or Fully Booked Professional Organizer course. One of the two. Either way, that's my goal for you. I want you to know the simple systems that will create a marketing machine for you that you are able to then keep it simple, know exactly what to do when you sit down at your computer, and know that the things you are doing in your business to market your business are actually moving the needle forward and getting you clients. So because of that, just remember, the marketing course is coming soon, and I will be launching it inside of the group coaching community early and with a coupon before it goes to the public whatsoever. So there's so many reasons to come join us in the community. There's so many reasons to get the courses. And if you're not a course person, you can still look down inside of the links in the show notes, and right there you can come straight into joining us in the group coaching community, so you at least get all of those goodies, because I have a template that you can use in Canva that's a bunch of static posts. There's like 200 different options you can choose from of content ideas for static posts for your social media, for Google, whatever it is you want to use it for. I have an entire folder of royalty-free photos that I've collected over the years that I now have put all into a folder so you can have access to all of those. There's the replay vault. There's the workshops we do. Like there's so much goodness going on. And of course, you get the group coaching every single Tuesday night at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is so much value that I know I say it all the time that I wish I would have had something like this, but I am so proud of POC and the stuff that I've created. I pray about it. I pray for you. I thank God for it, but I'm very intentional with the things that I do because I only have so much time to work on POC, and I want to make sure that the things I am putting out there are actually going to benefit you, period. And keep it simple, right? Like we got to keep it all simple as to not overwhelm you. All right. So enough about that. Go check out proorganizersacademy.com. Make sure to come join us in something in the academy because I want you to be one of my ladies that I am coaching. I appreciate you so much for choosing me to be your coach, even if you're just listening to the podcast at the moment. And if you have any questions, please reach out to me. I am always available at proorganizerscoach@gmail.com. All right. All the links will be in the show notes. Let's get on with today's episode. I am so excited for you to hear this one. Again, grab that pen and paper because you are going to want to take notes. I'm Samantha Brown, professional organizer, decluttering specialist, and business coach. I created Pro Organizers Coach podcast to empower you to reach new heights in your business. I am on a mission to build a supportive sisterhood of passionate professional organizers. So whether you're a seasoned pro or you're just getting started, this podcast is for you. Hey friends, welcome back to the Pro Organizers Coach podcast. On today's episode, I have an amazing guest with me. Her name is Deidre, and she does coaching and all sorts of stuff, and I'll let her explain to you here in a minute kind of who she is and what she does. But you know those times in life where you know what you're supposed to be doing. You know maybe how to do it even, but you keep kind of maybe self-sabotaging or you keep getting stuck and you're not really sure why or how come. You know that there's also some things inside of you that the more you work on yourself, but you're like, how do I actually do that? So she's got some stages she's going to talk to us about turning on our light so we can quit self-sabotaging. We can wake up to who we truly are and start blessing the world the way that we're meant to be blessing them and living our true authentic self. So thank you, Deidre, for being on the show.
Oh my gosh, thanks so much for having me. What an intro. So I'm really excited to be talking about all of the things with you today, and I'm grateful to be here.
I love it. Okay, so tell everyone real quick a little bit about who you are, what you do, the name of your business, and then we'll jump straight in.
Okay, I love it. So what I do is I help people who are here to make a bigger impact on the world. That can be through their work or through their life, just people who feel called to bring the work to the world, whatever that means to them, step into their calling, remove the barriers that are keeping them small, that are keeping them stuck in old patterns of self-sabotage and playing small and, being in shame or in victim or just not really living the life that they want to live. You could call it the caged life. It's like, okay, like I've got this home, I've got this relationship, I've got this thing. But beyond that, I'm not really going to my full potential. I'm staying where I'm at out of fear. That could be conscious fear, subconscious fear, all of the things. I help people get out of their way so that they can step into their greatness. And then as far as like stepping in their greatness, as far as the work that I really love doing is I help people step into the spotlight and share their message, their stories from stages and podcasts and write books and really elevate their brands and put themselves out there in a bigger way.
Love it. And the reason that we thought this would be such an aligned topic for all of you that are listening is because I know as organizers, a lot of us either write books or we do workshops or we start wanting to do presentations. And, a lot of times those are the things that would grow our business exponentially, even if we're not talking to the whole world and we are staying more local. You can still do that locally. But again, then we get into almost that self-sabotage mode of who am I to write a book or who am I to do a presentation or, why would someone even want to listen to me, especially if you're just beginning or, and what I've learned over time is honestly, people are actually more drawn to the people that are just getting started as much as they are the people that are further along because they can relate to us when we are closer to just getting started. So I love that we're going to talk about this. Okay, so you've got like the 4 stages of your true authentic self. Do you want to kind of maybe start there?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'd love to just share a story with you. So about 8 years ago, I was standing in my kitchen, and this will really explain why I do what I do and all the pieces. I was standing in my kitchen and I was putting my fingers through my hair, and I was like, I just noticed like at the top of my head that something felt really weird. So I grabbed my phone and I raced to the bathroom and I put on camera, but I started angling at the back of my head with the mirror, like trying to figure out like what's going on. And that's when I realized, I'm like, oh my gosh, I have a bald spot. And the bald spot, for the people that are listening and not watching, was a few inches wide. It was this big circle on the top of my head, which felt like it came out of nowhere. And I remember looking in the mirror and just thinking, how did this happen? How do I fix it? Clearly God, the universe, is trying to tell me something because it's going after my hair. And you know what? I grew up with 2 older brothers, and my long hair was the thing that made me the girl of the family. Other than that, so I was freaking out, and I go back to my kitchen to sit down for a moment. And that's when I hear this voice come out of me, and it said, if you don't listen to your soul, you're going to get cancer and die in the next year. And I was in complete whoa, I was in shock. And then I had a flashback to the only other time in my life I had ever heard this voice speak to me. And it was about 5 years prior. I was outside. I had friends and family to both sides of me. My friend Marty was playing the guitar, singing the song. I think it's by James Blunt. It's like, it's beautiful. It's true. And I'm walking down the aisle with pink roses in my hand with a big smile on my face, about to marry the man that I think I'm going to spend the rest of my life with. And the same voice says, this just isn't going to work. Well, no one ever taught me what this voice was. I had no idea. And I really did, on a mental level and all the other levels, except for this voice, I was like, God, this is what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to marry this man. We're going to be together forever. All of the things. So I shoved it down because I didn't know how to deal with it. And I said, I do. And so I'm sitting at my kitchen table 8 years ago, and I'm remembering this. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I have 4 different types of autoimmune disease that the doctors at the time couldn't seem to help me with. I had chronic pain in my neck and shoulders to the point where my massage therapist, Samantha, actually fired me.
No.
She's like, you know what? I can't help you anymore. This is not muscular. This is something different. So I was feeling not great about myself. And I had food sensitivities, and also I had depression to the point of having a vision of ending my life. And it was really shocking to me because from the outside looking in, I was the happiest person everyone knew. And so I'm sitting at my kitchen table going through all of this. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, could it be that this entire time, ever since I walked down the aisle and ignored that very inconvenient voice, that my soul has been talking to me through these symptoms of disease? So in that moment, sitting there, I knew that if I didn't change my life, if I didn't make a radical change, I wasn't going to be around for another year. So I declared to myself, I was going to get radically honest. I was going to have courage to do the hard things. And then the third piece was I was going to take massive inspired action right away. And that brought me down the path of deeper healing, getting radical honest with myself and doing the deeper work. And then eventually having the courage to leave a mentally and emotionally abusive relationship that I was in for 8 years. And my soul essentially was killing me because I wasn't listening to it. And the relationship was the complete opposite of what I was meant to be in, but also was the soul school that I needed to wake up. So today what I do, I'll go back a moment, just 3 months after doing this inner work of honesty, courage, showing up, listening, I healed myself of 3 of those 4 autoimmune diseases just from listening to my body and listening to the signs. My depression went away, my chronic pain went away, and most of my food sensitivities went away just in a few months. And my hair grew back, which was great. Cause that was kind of I can't really hide this anymore, that something's not working. And, that brought me down the path of healing trauma, studying trauma, And then now today, what I help people is I help people transform their trauma, their pain, their shame, their stuff that they don't want to deal with into their greatest gift for humanity through books, through speaking, through being who they are in the world. So that's what brought me to where I am today. And even though externally I looked like a bright light, everything was great, internally, totally different story. I was crippled with anxiety. Do you know what I mean? Like sometimes we can show up and look so shiny and so good, and we've convinced ourselves we're good until there's like the wake up call. So that was my wake up call.
I love that because honestly, how I started doing everything I'm doing, which is my organizing business, the podcast, all of it, was from a very similar like period of time where I was, not listening to all of, my intuition. I call it my Holy Spirit gut. Like I wasn't listening to that. Yeah. And there for a little bit, like, life was just so hard. But I kept hearing God tell me, like, I'm building your root system. So whenever you come up, you can grow big and strong and be that light that you're meant to be. But going through all of that was so hard because the easiest thing would have been to just quit, right? Like, because it was about my marriage. It was about dealing with my dad's, death. And like, there was a lot of stuff going on for me. And then I was working at a job with autistic kids where I would get beat up for a living, literally.
Wow.
And I kept being like, God, why can't I leave this job? Like, I'm so ready to leave. And he's like, I'm growing your character. Stay loyal. Like, that was kind of my message. And then it finally got to this point where this one day, it was like God said, all right, you can jump. And I was like, wait, what? Where am I jumping to? And that started me on this path because that was right during COVID. And then I was able to start helping other people. And long story short, I feel like we all have a story very similar. It's just, are we willing to share it with the world versus feeling ashamed and trying to hide it? Or we're still in denial and haven't actually woken up to what it is that we're being told.
I love that you shared that because, everything that we go through is creating who we're meant to be. And I actually just like very transparently, I just went through a very challenging summer. There were a lot of external things in my life that happened that I didn't have any control over. And I felt very out of alignment. I had a lot of anxiety, a lot of stress, and it was really hard and challenging to go through it. And it re-traumatized some old wounds. Mm-hmm. And I just had to like be with it, go through it. And then on the other side, okay, so what did I learn here? I learned that I have to have even stronger boundaries with specific things. And that I always need to, if I need support, to get support right away, because I think the hardest thing when we're in something, I know for me, it's hard to ask for help. It's hard to be like, oh, I'm struggling, especially if we're in a space of leadership. And I'm not just talking about business. I'm talking about like leadership as like, a wife, a mother, a business owner. We've been taught to be so self-sufficient and, not sweep things under the rug, but feel it. And then you'll heal it. Well, just cry for 5 minutes. Well, you can cry for 5 minutes or, 90 seconds or whatever the emotional wave is. But after that, it's still in the body. And maybe there are things you need to clean up or adjust because you are being elevated in your life to expand. And those pieces needed to crack so that you could build more of a legacy, have a better relationship, whatever that is. So yeah, I just went through a really challenging summer and I'm on the other side of it. And I'm just like, thank God that's over. But man, it's a good reminder sometimes that we can show up in like super alignment, listen. And then sometimes things happen that are out of our control, like a death of a family member, maybe a divorce that we're not expecting, or an illness, or someone close to us going through something. And that energy leak and emotional impact can really throw us off on so many different levels. So I just love that you shared that. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and I think also too, for me, it was always, I was such a caregiver, and I've also realized that I'm also very empathic. Like I feel people's energy, which is amazing now that I'm an organizer because I can feel their energy and help them. But back then I wasn't an organizer yet. And so, it kept feeling like, why am I feeling all this, like, why do I feel this way? And as a caregiver, learning, and the same thing as an organizer, I talk about this all the time, like learning what someone else's energy versus what is our own Because a lot of times we feel it as women and we just assume it's our own energy that we're feeling. And then, like you said, it starts to leak in. And then, but what I've learned is that I don't have to agree with it. I can put that boundary in place of like, I'm here to love you, but I don't have to take on your trauma as my own.
Yeah. And that's the thing with empaths. Those of us that have been through a lot at a young age usually become very empathic, or we've been through a very traumatic experience. And then we're like deep feelers. We're like, oh, that person's feeling slightly off. Oh, that person's going through this. Ooh, I need to fix it. Right. And that was the thing I used to do all the time. Wherever someone was not doing well, I was like, oh, I got to fix this. I got to fix this. And that's a huge energy leak that can throw us off in so many ways. And I just really love that example. For me, a big thing that has really happened is having boundaries with people's energy as well. There was someone, this was over a year ago, but a newer friendship in my life, and it turned into kind of a dumping ground of where they'd always call me and just complain about everything. And I was trying to lift this person up because that's who I am, and I can sense that's who you are too. And they're a lovely person, but they were just in a really long season of stuff that I actually was like, I need to remove myself from this friendship because I was feeling exhausted after. So I think emotional boundaries, time boundaries, if you don't feel good around people consistently, having boundaries of how often you talk to them. I have a boundary when people want to give me feedback on something. I know feedback is super helpful. And I do really love feedback when I ask for it from a mentor or a colleague or on something specific. But if someone's like, hey, can I give you feedback on something? Sometimes I'll be like, no, you're not my mentor and you're not my coach and I didn't hire you and I didn't ask for it. So, because feedback could be anything. You know what? You should do your eyebrows different. You should have different colored hair. It's like, sometimes it's just about, hey, like I got to have boundaries around my internal state and I don't want your feedback. And that's a flex. That's a real flex. So there are 4 stages of waking up to who you are and who you're meant to be. And I know you kind of asked that earlier and then we're talking about pieces of it, but I'd love to break it down a little bit more if that's okay.
Oh, absolutely.
So there's the first stage. So the first stage of turning your light on, is we all have a light inside of us, and this light is here to be expanded and to impact people around us. And so being at stage 1 is having your light off. So you have a light, but it's turned off. So it's kind of like being in the forest in the middle of the night. You have a flashlight, but you're by yourself and it doesn't work. So typically, for me at least, if I was in the forest by myself in the middle of the night and my flashlight didn't work, I'd probably be fearful. I'd probably put my back against a tree and I'd get like really small and tight and I'd be in fear and I probably wouldn't go anywhere until the next day. But I'd also probably be hypervigilant and afraid because there's, some stuff moving in the bush over there. I'm hearing some noises. I don't know if there's like rattlesnakes or bears, there's fears. So how that translates into the human experience at stage 1. This is the stage where we're living in fear. We might not even know it, which means we're not growing. We're not expanding ourselves. We're not getting out of our comfort zone, which is actually one of our human needs is to evolve. The other one is having chronic disease, pain. Any kind of chronic illness is the body system trying to get us to wake up. And so one of the things that I studied long time ago was the language of the soul. Our soul communicates through symptoms of disease. And it's like, hey, there's something you're not paying attention to. You're not listening here. There's something here for you. So if you have depression, chronic disease, pain, you don't know what your purpose is, you feel disconnected from yourself, the people around you, your life is feeling very much the same, and it's not bringing you highs and it's not bringing you lows and you just kind of feel flat, it's probably because you're at stage 1 of turning your light on. And this is a shifting scale. So, I mentioned I went through a really stressful time, in the summer. I shifted back into stage 1 of just like, I don't want to go anywhere. I don't really want to do anything extra. My nervous system is out of whack. I just need to like preserve myself, right? So it is a shifting, but the goal is to be at stage 4 or 5 consistently as much as possible. So at stage 1, what we need most is to pay attention to what our body is telling us and to actually listen. So one of the things that I learned early on when I started studying like healing work is that there's a message behind every symptom. So I would tune in to like, the chronic pain in my back. And I'm like, okay, like what message do you have for me? And sometimes my back would say something super random and I'd be like, okay, like, thank you. Okay. What's the next message you have for me? And I would just keep going until I would find out that it wanted me to fully wake up to joy or to peace or to love. And I'd be like, okay. And sometimes it would be like, you are holding on to this resentment, or you're not doing the thing, or you're not speaking up for yourself. It would be like something sometimes specific. And then it's like, okay, I know what it is. Now I got to do something about it. So then I would go and I would do something about it. I'd listen to the message. I'd take action, and then the pain would go away. And that's how I healed myself of chronic pain that I had for over 6 months consistently. And it was from, okay, what is the message for me? So the courage to listen and then the showing up helped me heal that. So that's stage 1. And it's all about like, we're in trauma, we're in shame, we're in an emotion, and we don't really know how to get out of it. So a lot of the time we'll numb, or we'll stay in one environment and we won't get out of it because we don't know how to get out of it. And that's where addiction comes in, and depression.
Absolutely. I feel like I know the answer to this, but I want to make sure to clarify. So when you say that you would like ask your pain, right? And like listen, where would you like go out in, to like a spot that's like your spot where it's quiet, or were you meditating, or like, how was it that you actually did that part?
Yeah. So I have a process that I can send you a link to, and you can add into the show notes if you want to. It's a YouTube, process, like the full process that I do anytime I have something going on in my body. It also can be used with emotions too, by the way. So not just a physical ailment or disease. I can do it at my chair. I can do it out in nature. I can do it anywhere. It's like 5 minutes or less, and I'm clearing, I'm moving it. But the biggest thing is a lot of us have awareness of what's going on. We're just unwilling to change it because we're like, oh, well, if I leave this relationship, am I going to ever find love again? Or I don't want to deal with that pain. Or if I step into running my own business, will I really make it? Or am I going to be successful? Or am I going to be rejected by my family? Like, we go in a worst case scenario. So we avoid doing the thing. But another piece with stage 1 is getting support. Maybe that's a therapist. Maybe that's a coach that can help you with some of those first stages of healing so that you can come out of it. Like when I was in the really stressful summer, some circumstances that re-traumatized me, I hired a therapist for 5 sessions just to have someone to talk to about what I was going through. Cause I'm like, I don't want to dump this on my partner. I don't want to dump this on my friends. I don't want to, I want to be responsible. So I had a call twice a week for, 2.5 weeks. And then I was like, okay, good. I'm processing this. Someone's validating me and I'm feeling better.
Right. No, that's fantastic. I love it. And yeah, definitely send me that link and I'll put it in the show notes for sure.
Yeah, I would love that. And so then stage 2 is the flickering light stage. So again, the metaphor of being in the forest in the middle of the night, you have a flashlight, but sometimes it works and you're going on path, you're feeling confident. And then sometimes out of nowhere, the flashlight's off and you're like, oh, shoot. So you go back to stage 1. You're like, I don't feel comfortable. I don't feel safe. So how this shows up, how this manifests in the human behavior is sometimes we're showing up for our, we're going to the gym, we're exercising, we're eating well, we're communicating well with our partner, we're, showing up great with our kids and our family, and we're really showing up for our dreams. We're moving forward with our goals and our business. And it feels like, nice, I'm on a stride. And then sometimes what feels like out of nowhere, right? I don't know what happened. You just stop showing up. You stop going to the gym. You stop communicating. You stop doing the thing that's building your dreams and building your confidence. And this could be an external thing that happens, like kind of what happened this summer, with something that happened in my life where I was like, oh, this really affected me and it's really throwing me off. So I need to get support right away. Or it could be just a little trigger that's subconscious where I'm going about, maybe I'm running a live event or launching a book or something new, and something about someone triggers something from childhood when I was bullied. And I'm like, I don't feel safe speaking up at this conference, or I don't feel safe doing this. And then there's an internal feeling in my heart of it's not safe to be me. And then I slowly slide back to stage 1. So at stage 2, the flickering light, sometimes we're showing up powerfully and sometimes we're not. And our biggest battle is with ourself motivation. We're trying to fix ourselves. We're trying to take another course. We're trying to listen to another audiobook. We're trying to do something to get out of the funk because we're not consistent and we don't know why. And this is where so many people get stuck in business and really everywhere in life. It's like, why am I not showing up? I know this is the right thing to do. And so at stage 2, the most important thing to do is to be like, okay, I'm human. I'm like a programming system, just like a computer. And when things aren't being upgraded or supported in the system, there's going to be some glitches. So if I haven't really trained my mind or understood what my triggers are, my default settings are, and what I typically do when those default settings happen, then how can I prevent them? So, okay, I'm feeling anxious. Okay, normally when I'm anxious, I drink alcohol or I smoke weed or I shop or I crawl into a ball and I hide in my room or I watch Netflix, whatever the thing is, right? Or I get really upset and I just forget who I am. It's about, first of all, knowing that you're human and that when a lot of triggers, when a lot of self-sabotaging patterns show up, it just means you haven't got enough awareness of what some of those main core triggers are, number one. Number two, you don't have the tools to overcome them as they come up because it's easy to say like, oh yeah, like the trigger is the gateway to freedom and this and that. And that's lovely. Like everyone loves that. And you know what? On a good day, I'm like, totally just release, surrender, let go, breathe. But like in reality, when you're in something, it feels like everything's closing in on you. So it's like, okay, what is a tool I can use right now? Okay, I'm going to do a breathing exercise. Okay, I'm going to remind myself that this is something that I normally want to do, but instead of drinking or instead of, opting out, I'm going to opt in and I'm going to move forward even though I'm feeling this way because emotions only last 90 seconds. So if I can stay true and breathe through and remind myself of what I'm doing and why I'm doing it, I can move forward. And maybe I just need a coach or a guide to help me with this mentally. Maybe I need to listen to a motivational thing. Maybe I need to go for a walk. Who knows what it is? It's a pattern interrupt. And in this state, it's also helpful to know what your core traumas are so that you can get the support to clear them. Because with trauma, there's an image, a thought, a body sensation, an emotion that gets triggered subconsciously most of the time where we're like, I can't move forward. I don't know why. And it's in our body. It's in our emotions. And we're like, we don't know what's going on. So that's what's really needed at stage 2.
I love that. And honestly, what just came up for me while you were talking about that is I had done a ton of work. I had started my business, started the other business, had some issues with my teenage daughter that re-traumatized a bunch of stuff in me. And like you were saying, I kind of knew, but I was in that place of kind of back and forth and all the things because I'd regressed some. And what I realized through doing the inner work is I had never truly forgiven myself. I had forgiven everyone else for all the things. I can have compassion for everyone else, but I had never truly, deeply allowed myself to forgive myself for all the things that I did to quote unquote, maybe mess up my kids or whatever that looks like, because that mom guilt is powerful. And so I literally just one day when I was feeling it and it like clicked and I had one of those moments where God was like, forgive yourself. I just started weeping and like just allowed all of that to just come out. And like I, cried and apologized and like, prayed and probably within 3 to 5 minutes, like it wasn't long, but it was enough that it moved it through my body and I felt free again. It was like turning the light on again, all because I was listening to my instincts and was like, wow. And I had that awareness. So like, it's huge to have those moments of awareness. But what I've also learned from God is if we're not looking for them or asking for them or seeking after them, it's a lot harder to hear from him.
And that's the difference between having like a lot of people say, oh, do you believe in God or what do you believe in? And I believe in a lot of things. I've had a lot of direct experiences. And that's why I'm like, I know God because I've actually had direct experiences. But I think that being in relationship, communicating and asking for what you need is important. And it can be just that simple of like, I'm not feeling good. I'm blaming myself. Please help me remove this. Like I've had profound healing experiences from just asking God to help me heal my heart. And this is also coming from, I'm going to do a quotation mark for those of you that aren't watching. That's coming from a healer, as in a huge part of my training in life up until a certain point was in the language of the soul, like healing modalities, like studying trauma. Like I was deep in that, and it's still very valuable. Yes, because there is the body, all of those things, but asking for support and in the moment is so powerful. I remember being in Bali. This is, I don't know, probably 10 years ago when I was married. And I remember being so triggered by something. Don't remember what it was, but I felt called to go to some big rocks overlooking the water by myself. And I just, and my partner wasn't there at the time. And I was just like, I choose to let this go because it no longer serves me. I said that, probably yelled that into the ocean, probably 100 times. I don't know how many times. And I don't know if people were walking by or not. I didn't really care. But I was like, I choose to let this go because it no longer serves me. And then it left. And it can just be deciding and declaring that you're ready to let it go and you're ready to heal. And that's where the healing happens. But when we're like swallowing it and we're like, oh, it's not that bad. It's, I don't need to deal with this right now. That's when, it's for sweeping under the rug. But then we have friends over and everyone's like, hey, you got a bunch of stuff under your rug here. It's like everyone else can tell you've got something on, but you're like, oh no, there's nothing under the rug here. Cause it's obvious to other people when you're out of alignment energetically. Like you can kind of feel it in people. Cause when I'm super in alignment, I'm so confident and I'm just a big light. And when I'm not, I'm more withdrawn. And it's like we all have that, right? Mm-hmm. So really love that.
No, that's awesome. Okay. So we either the lights off, then we're flickering. What's stage 3?
I was like, what stage are we at now? Okay. There's stage 3. So stage 3 is the bright light. So of course we're like, okay, bright light. You got a flashlight. It's bright in all directions. So how this manifests in the physical form as far as like the human experience is we're really excited about a lot of things. So we're like, I'm helping this person over here. I'm working on this project. I'm saying yes to this. We have so much energy and it's going in all directions, which is fun. It actually feels really fun. And usually in these spaces, we're doing it because we're helpers or we want to get that quick gratification of what we're good at. But usually at this stage, we're committing and saying yes to everyone else's stuff. And we have our big dream on the back burner. And we've distracted ourselves with a bunch of noise that might feel good. It's like the quick hits of what we're good at. But it's not like that, oh, this is what I'm really here for at this time in my life. Because when I think about purpose and what I'm here to do, and I'm curious what it is for you, Samantha, is what I'm here to do, my assignment changes. It changes based on what's going on in my life and what I'm being called to do. But I might be working on an old assignment, but it's like, you're not supposed to be on that assignment anymore. Like that one's good. Like you need to move forward on this one. They're like, oh, but like, I'm really good at this. And like getting a lot of external validation. So this stage, we're distracting ourselves from going all in on the big calling, the big dream, what we're feeling called to step into. We're putting it on the back burner and we're staying in our comfort zone and we're burning ourselves out. And a lot of the time we have resentment for being burnt out. We're overworked and we're like, oh, I wish I could write that musical album or, write that book or whatever. I just don't have time. And so that is stage 3.
All of us listening have been in that stage for sure, probably 1,000 times. But I'm with you. Like my mission changes. I even actually just put it in my calendar like day before yesterday for me to go spend some time to get my new like assignment, right? Because like, yes, I am helping people with my organizing business and I'm still called for that, for the podcast and everything. Like I'm helping other women start businesses so they can go help their communities, like, and their families, right? So like I'm still called to those two things, but here recently, I've been feeling like I need almost like an overarching, like the big mission, right? That these like fall under, but it's the, like, not the mantra I can say to myself, but the thing I can believe in that, and recently, actually, now that I just said that, it's been that I'm going to see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. And I want to be the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. And so that's been like a ongoing kind of theme recently.
I love that. That's so beautiful.
Yeah, God's so good to us.
Yeah.
So, okay, so that one is more of like my light's on, but like you said, like I feel like I'm doing the right things. I feel like but deep down I'm still like, something's a little off. It's more for others. It's more for that instant gratification. So
Yeah.
4 kind of like the top one? Is that like where you want to be?
Yeah. So at stage 3, we need to learn how to quiet the noise and trust in ourselves. But more importantly, trust in a higher power, whether you believe in God, universe, or whatever you believe in. There is a higher force that's guiding you. So you need to surrender what you think you know and go all in on that thing. So stage 4 is where we've quieted the noise. We're on our path. We're building that thing, that purpose-driven business, whatever that is. And people know what we're doing because we are not the bright light. We're the focused bright light. So we have a lot of depth. We see where we're going. We know where the next steps are. We're getting the support and we're showing up powerfully without getting pulled off our path. So I like to think of it. I got into mountain biking years ago. I wasn't very good at it, but it really scared me actually because I was like, oh my gosh, like this is so scary, going downhill fast. But what I learned really quickly in mountain biking is if you're looking to the right and the left of you as you're going full speed, you're going to fall off your bike because the wheel's going to go over to the side. If you look down, you're going to fall on your face. So with mountain biking, you want to know about a meter in front of you. So you know where you're going. And then you also want to remember where the final destination is. So at stage 4, you've quieted the noise. You're getting the support that you need and you've gone all in on your mission and you're showing up for that faithfully.
That is beautiful. I love that. And so even with driving, right? Like right now I just taught my son to drive. And so like he'd start to get distracted and I'm like, "Bup, bup, 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 bup. Hello, back here, you know.
Don't get distracted.
Yeah, don't get distracted while driving, please. But it's very similar to the mountain biking thing. But I love what you said about the fact that like you need to look just like essentially one step in front of you, just right there in front of you, but at the same time know the final destination. Yeah. And then that helps to quiet all of the noise because then you're able to focus. It's like the more you do it, the easier and easier it gets, you know, to get back into that focused place where all the external noise just kind of fades away. And it's like, you know what? It's okay. Like for me, for instance, so my family's number is 24, my number's 44. I believe in signs and numbers and all that. So like every morning for the past, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks now, every single morning on the way to work, I end up seeing on someone's license plate a 24 or a 44. Or like the other day, there were 3 cars in a row that had 24 and 44 on them right in front of me at a red light. I took a photo of it and I'm like cracking up because I'm like, God, you're hilarious. But for me, what it means is you're at the right place at the right time, right where you need to be. Keep going, you know? And the more that I have like received that and been like, okay, this is what this means. I receive it. I've been seeing it everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. And it's, you know, ask for the sign and you will receive it, you know?
Yes.
And sometimes we're like, oh, but I want a bigger, shinier sign. Well, okay. You know, if you want a bigger, shinier one, you're probably it's not going to be a fun sign for you. I mean, that sounds like a great affirmation. Mine is butterflies. And it's funny because whenever I see a butterfly, I remember being at this retreat years and years ago. I was a facilitator at it. And it was recently after I lost a chunk of hair and I just was not in a great place. And I was sitting there at the retreat and I was with all these like high level tech people. And I was a yoga teacher at the time in my past business. And I was sitting there and I was like, just not feeling worthy of being there. I wasn't feel confident. I just wasn't feeling. I was also, my past career in running a yoga and wellness company was no longer resonating. It expired. So I was like between the old and creating the new. And I remember sitting there and just being like, I don't think I should be here. Like, I don't feel like I belong. And then I saw a butterfly and the message was like, this is the sign that you're exactly where you need to be. And so every time I see that, it's usually when I'm kind of going through a season or a thought and it's like, oh, beautiful butterfly just right in front of me. So I love that for you.
God will speak to us. Like I've had a season where it was birds. I've had a season where it was heart.
I had a bird season too. Yeah.
And I've also had a butterfly season after my dad passed. I kept seeing these butterflies everywhere. And I'm like, why am I seeing all these butterflies? And why are they almost, I call them my neon sign moments. It's like a neon sign, you know, kind of like they stick out more than they normally do.
Right.
And I'm like, why do I keep seeing these butterflies? And then it hit me like a ton of bricks. Mine and my dad's song used to be Butterfly Kisses when I was a little girl.
Aw, that's so sweet.
Right. And so for that, it felt like every time I saw a yellow butterfly, it was like dad being like, hey, I've got you. You're good. Like, hey, whatever. Like it comforted me. And so being open to seeing those things and being willing is so helpful when you're on a journey. Because on that journey, you need those reminders of like, hey, you need community, you need support, like you need all of the pieces of the puzzle for you to live your best life, in my opinion.
I love that so much. And I'm just feeling really called to just share that people, when they pass away, do try to communicate for sure. And I can say that because I've had direct experience of people passing away and coming to me to give a message to someone that's alive. And I don't know this person even that well. Like I might have known them and they're like, hey, I remember this one time I was driving to a yoga client, 10 years ago. I woke up to my spiritual connection and gifts when I was 20 or 19. I was like, I'm going crazy. Birds are talking to me. Everyone's talking to me. People's bodies are talking to me. It was just a lot. Right. And I remember driving and, this boy that I dated a long, long time ago in elementary school or early high school, was talking to me. And I was like, hey, Paul. And I was driving and he just wouldn't leave me alone. I'm like, Paul, what do you want? He's like, I need you to give a message to my girlfriend. And I was like, okay, well, what's the message? And then so I gave the message to his girlfriend. And then I started to have more and more experiences of people passing away and coming to me. And I don't know everything, obviously, but I do know that on the other side, my experience is very loving, very kind, in a good place. I don't know how long the timeline is for them to communicate with me, because typically when I've had someone pass away in my life, personally, they'll speak to me for 24 to 72 hours. And usually it's complete. And sometimes something will pop back in. But yeah, I have communicated with quite a few people and I do see spirits, sometimes wandering around. I'm like, oh, that soul hasn't left this space. So it's all real and they're always trying to communicate with us. So I love that you brought that up. This is such a great conversation. It's been so fun.
I'm having so much fun.
Yeah.
Okay, so from there, if we're on stage 4, I guess the kind of final question would be how do we stay on stage 4, right? Okay, I've done all this work and I've gotten to this place, or they're listening to the podcast right now and they're like, you know what? I actually am a stage 4. I'm doing great right now. I have my single focus, but I know, and just as you said with the summer for you, and as we go through things, even though we're on our path, things start to happen, right? That can distract us, or, something unfortunately happens to a family member or whatever it is. It's life, right? It is not a straight line. Do you have, is your suggestion just like you said, kind of to get those people around you that you need and the support that you feel like you need right when something's starting to happen? Or do you actually suggest having someone like a therapist or a coach that you keep all the time? Or what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. So there's a lot of coaches that will say everyone should have a coach all the time or they're not growing. And, I used to subscribe to that for sure. And then I didn't have a coach for a year or so. And I actually was at my best because I didn't have anyone coaching me. And then I have a season where I have a coach again. So for me, stage 4 is really about being in alignment, radical alignment. That's being aligned with your health, with your wealth, with your relationships, really doing your best to show up for each of those buckets every day. And, when I've been in my busiest seasons or most stressful seasons, I need to up my self-care. And that's the thing. It's hey, you're going through some stuff. You got a family member that's sick. Looks like you're going to have to do some more self-care. Looks like you're going to have to spend more time doing the things that you say you don't have time for. Those are the things that you need to do in order to fill up your cup. So at this stage, you probably know what probably works best for you. So filling up your cup, getting support when you need it. But if you're at stage 4, you're stepping into radical alignment and you're also trusting in a greater force. So finding the lessons in the chaos, continue to show up, and then surrounding yourself with people who are going to lift you up, because your environment always wins if you don't have the right support. And that's something that an old mentor of mine, Jay Facette, told me or would talk about. He's like, yeah, without the right support, your environment always wins. So if you're in a really bad environment, a lot of things aren't working. It's get the mentor, get the support, And if you have all those things already, then just lean on them more and you'll succeed.
No, I love that. And I think the biggest thing of what you said is like, we know what our thing is and it's whatever we don't have the time for. And I've been experiencing that. I just turned 40 this year. So I'm in that place where, you know, like all the things everyone said, like, oh, when you turn 40, blah, blah, blah. It is like when you turn 40, you start kind of feeling your body differently than you have before. And so doing these small things of just like, because for a while I had stopped getting my nails done. I had stopped doing these things. I knew that was how I did self-care, right? It was like my time alone with God. I love having my nails done. And then recently I've also added going to a stretch lab where they stretch me every week because of what I do physically for work. But the old me was like, oh, I'll just push through this, right? Like I don't have time for it. And then now I'm at this place where I'm like, you know what? I'm going to make the time for it because exactly what you just said. The more that things are coming at you, the more you need to up your self-care to help combat that.
100%. I love that you're doing all of that.
So good. Okay, so tell everyone like where they can find you, all the goodness.
Yeah. So I'm on Instagram. It's just I am Deidre Sirianni. The link will be below. And I'm also at radicallyaligned.com. And yeah, feel free to reach out on Instagram, say hello, let me know what resonated for you and what stage you're at. There's also a quiz that I have linked that I shared with Samantha where you can take the quiz and find out roughly what stage you're at. You might have some symptoms of stage 3 and 1. Let's see where you're at and what your main work is at this time. And if you're looking for any support in scaling your business, getting on stages and podcasts and just making a bigger impact with less effort or any of this resonated, please feel free to reach out. I'd love to support you in any way I can.
I love it. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for being on the show. And then for those of you listening, we will definitely catch you in the next episode. Thank you for joining us on this episode of the Pro Organizers Coach podcast. Go to proorganizerscoach.com to find all the ways that we can help you succeed in your business. Remember, you have the power to make a difference in people's lives through decluttering and organization. So keep honing your skills, embracing those challenges, and fostering connections. Girl, you've got this.